Good morning. It's great to be here at home. This is my home center, and it's been quite a while. I haven't been here during the morning, Sunday morning, so it just really feels like I just feel very cozy and sweet. So, and so, with that reflection of, as I was reflecting on being here today, and what was emerging to share with you, I just had this moment of memories of different teachings and different instances where it has been wonderful to be able to recognize the practice in my life, and other times where it has been tricky. It's like, what is going on? Those moments of being in a roller coaster. And having something reminding me of the practice. And the fruits that emerges, the fruits that emerge when there's a sense of confidence and trust and faith, however you want to call it, in the practice. And one of the teachings that I realized, in some ways, it has been there, accessible, or showing me where to start or where to go, or is the Noble Eightfold Path. And so I wanted to share with you a little bit about it, just because also I think that we started already the program. Yeah. And it just touches my heart. It just tells me how many times it has shown up, and how it goes deeper and deeper and deeper in my life, as I engage in the practice. So the Eightfold Path, there is the teachings that the Buddha offered to us in the Four Noble Truths as part of the Four Noble Truths. And just to briefly mention them and then go deeper into the Eightfold Path in a very simple way. If we cling, we suffer. That's one of the interpretations that I have received from my teachers, especially Gil. There's stress, there's suffering. And the one that is being addressed through the Eightfold Path is the one that we add. The one that we add as we cling, cling to different aspects of our lives. And that clinging is the cause of stress, the cause of suffering, the cause of discomfort. And there's a moment that it can cease. Wow. Yeah, that there's a cessation of suffering, that there's a cessation of even some beliefs that we need to be loyal, or that we're loyal to our suffering, there's a cessation of it, and we feel it. There's something that happens within the practice when we continue to engage in this practice, that there's a deep understanding, a deep release, a deep penetration of that truth. And then there's these four noble truths that I want to share with you, the Eightfold Path. And I would say that it applies to all aspects of life, is one of those recipes or teachings that you can adapt to anything that is cooking in the pot for you. So I give you an acronym, Visa Lem C, Visa Lem C, and it's an acronym for these 8 factors of the Noble Path. It starts with wise view, continues with wise intention, wise speech, wise action, wise livelihood, wise effort, wise mindfulness, and wise concentration. And just take a moment just to check if any of these words resonated for you. And just make a note of that. Any of these words resonated more than the other. I talk about that later. So wise view. I started in the practice thinking that any way in which I would be in stress or suffer was part of me. It was almost like a quality, like something, like, well, is part of being Bruni. And yes, there's suffering in the world. There are many things that, many causes and conditions happening. There's sickness, there's old age. I'm sitting on a chair today because my right knee is a little bit tricky today. And dying. There's all this, but there were also other things that I just couldn't get a grip in it. All the identities that, I would express in the world, all, relationships, work. It was like I'm doing something wrong. And so through the practice, I learned about wise view. Wise view, that actions are consequential, and that there is suffering that, yes, it happens. I'm going to get old, I'm going to age, and I'm going to die. And there are some things we don't have control over, but there are other things that we do have some agency into setting some conditions. That extra suffering, what we call sometimes the arrow, the second arrow. And so wise view help us understand that things change, that things are impermanent, that there's, not a reason to solidify. Sometimes when we say, oh, this never gonna change, it's almost like we're living in it, in whatever situation it is. But when we see how things change and how things happen, that we may have some influence, but I'm not controlling how things are happening. there's not an independent self. If I would wish what this mind would think, what this mind would experience, wow, it would be quite something to be able to choose, okay, today I'm going to choose to think about this and this and this and this, and all that will bring happiness to me. But it's not like that, right? So there's change, there's inconstancy, there's some things we have control, other things we don't. It's not like there's an independent self and a vacuum. We are interconnected. There are causes and conditions. And there's dukkha in different ways, in different manifestations in this life. And with the practice, it's almost like the practice becomes a balm in some ways. When we meet these truths, these understandings, it's like sometimes it takes, at least for me, it has taken me sometimes slowly but surely, Bruni. You're seeing it. It's sometimes hard to accept, but you're seeing it. And no, I want it another way, and I resist it, and I fight it, and I blame, I go back and forth, and then at some point, this heart and this mind surrenders to that understanding. Oh, it's true. Yeah, it's happening. I have the felt experience of these Four Noble Truths, of this wise view, this understanding. And so from there, in that surrendering, there's like a compassion that starts arising in the heart. And it's been like that many times for me. There's a compassion, there's an understanding, a kindness towards myself, toward other beings. And the second factor comes in, hey, wise intention. Wise intention is here. Wise intention of non-greed, non-aversion, of kindness, of goodwill, of compassion, and of letting go. Letting go or renunciation. And, sometimes we just have this moment in our daily lives. We see something or something is happening, and out of that compassion, there's this action that arises, right? Gil calls it care, anukampa. I like that translation. Other people call it compassion in action. But there's this quivering of the heart that in sometimes dissolve this sense of solid self. And like suddenly you're feeling compassion for someone that maybe you were struggling with, or that you love, or that you may not even know, but now it does feel like you do know this being. There's this interconnection, there's this humanity being seen, being felt. And out of that compassion, there may be sometimes also a sense of letting go. And a sense of shedding all the layers of the heart. A letting go into freedom. A letting go of the clinging. Letting go of, okay, my view is quite something. Can become very spacious out of the sudden, but it's not so sudden. It's, you're receiving the fruits of the practice. The strength of mindfulness really letting you know, Bruni is right here, or dear is right here. You see it clearly. It is like this right now. And we start noticing that the body tells us it's hard to deny it. What feels wholesome and what does not feel wholesome. It's almost a checking in, a tune-up, within us, like, of alignment, if we're disaligned, if we're struggling with something. So that surrender, I like Ajahn Suchito, one of our elders in our tradition, mentions that compassion arises when our hearts, start seeing things clearly, and there's a sense of even of gratitude. There's gratitude that floods the heart, and compassion also arises. And what is that gratitude? Oh my gosh, I saw it. It's like suddenly it's a discovery, Oh yes, it's wholesome. Oh yes, it's unwholesome. It's like suddenly we see that there's a path. There's a path that we can take. There's a choice, a moment of choice. And like, oh, I didn't know I had a choice. Yes. Even in moments of struggle, there's a moment of choice of how we relate to it. And how we can relate to it, we can relate to it in a wholesome way, with kindness, with compassion, with curiosity. And so, and then, guess what? This understanding starts being manifested in us. You start talking nicely, more, like in more clear way or a kind way, and maybe now you're like, no, don't say that. Don't say that. So the factor of wise speech starts manifesting. And that's how I recognize it. There was something in me, as I would be practicing, that would say things that before I would not even notice that I would be saying, or that, would cause harm. So there's more care in how we speak, in choosing the time that will be most beneficial, how we say things. And so there's a change. We start changing. Many times people ask me, so, especially coming out of retreat, how do you talk to other people about this practice and retreat, or the impact that it has had in you? Well, the same way as in daily life. The practice changes you, and you start behaving a little bit differently. And people notice, and we notice. The speaking is through your actions of body, speech, and mind. But, there's something happening it happened to me sometimes where people will say, what's going on? I say, well, same as, there are some things that keep going on and happen in my life, and other things, new things, and some things are okay, other things not so okay, and here I am. It's okay. And I don't feel great today, but, I'm here or whatever. It's like, but what is going on? I remember my mother asking me, but what is going on? There are some people that really have laser, like, no. What is going on? So the practice changes you, and it will change. It will have an impact in your relationship with different beings, how you relate in the world. And so, let's see. And then we go into wise action that I already started talking about. And wise action actually expands. It gives us a framework, a guideline, another path of how to act through the 5 precepts, sometimes 8 on retreat, but the 5 precepts, guidelines that help us, support us of being in community, support us in our lives, in in preventing harm. The guidelines, the precepts, the trainings. I love Thich Nhat Hanh he still calls it the trainings because his teachings are still with us. So the 5 precepts of not killing, not engaging into false speech, not engaging in sexual misconduct, and let's see, what are the other? Thank you. Not taking what is not given, and not cloud the mind with intoxicants. And so, when I heard these precepts at the beginning of my practice, it was like, there are too many no's here. It's like, don't do this and don't do that. And, there was a sense of conceit. Well, I know that. I know that. But there are moments, just like this Eightfold Path, there are moments in the practice that there are some words that click and there are other words that do not. And at the beginning, I chose to take the no out and then make it positive, It has to be positive or something like that. But as I went deeper into the practice, they were moments that I took that no back. Not because it was negative, but because it was a protection. It was like, don't go there. Just don't go there. And sometimes we need it. Sometimes we need a dear friend, a Kalyanamita friend, saying to us, don't go there. Or hold me because, I may cause some harm. So the precepts are like that. And my goodness, if we can follow at least one precept and everyone will do it, this will be a different world just with one. You can choose. You can choose any of them. I would choose now wise speech. But all of them, all of the precepts support our practice. So wise action. I sleep better. I sleep better with that precept. When I review my actions, at the end of the day, it's like, okay, how was the day today? And like, oh, okay, this happened. Oh, well, maybe that. Okay, I do better next time on this one. And okay, it's a great factor of the Eightfold Path. And so then we go into wise livelihood. And you see how all these factors integrate each other to live in a way that supports ourselves, support others, and support everyone. And support everyone. How it is that we relate. How it is that we use resources. How it is that we give and receive. The practice of generosity. How it is that we think ahead of time. Oh, yeah. How it is that, for me, keeps me out of the field of perfection. Because I cannot do everything I would love to do to support billions of people. But I can see what I can do in this moment. I can see how my actions could be a domino effect into the well-being of everyone, or a small group of people, or a small group of beings, or of this planet. And so then we go into wise effort. Wise effort. And I will be brief on this one because this has been brought up many times in the past teachings here. But it comes to what is wholesome and what is unwholesome, and how it is that we can support what is wholesome and we can decrease what is unwholesome. With wise effort, we start learning and understanding how it is that we can prevent and we can abandon actions and habits of mind that create more unwholesome or unskillful actions. And then we have the wholesome through cultivating and maintaining states of mind and actions that support us, that bring us peace, ease, including ease in the dis-ease, ease when what we are knowing is unwholesome, but just in that knowing, there could be a wise way to relate to what is happening. Wise effort is something we tune in. It's one of these companions in the practice. Sometimes we know, okay, today we need more, I need more effort. I need to apply more effort. into inclining the mind to a path of freedom. And those moments are moments of grief, moments of struggle, moments of confusion, moments in which we don't have a lot of energy. But there's something that we may have. And it's the conviction in this practice. If in those moments we can remember how this practice has supported us, just that memory may be enough to incline the mind, to shift it just 1 degree, to reach out to community, to reach out to the teachings, to remember our ancestors and the qualities that remind us of our inner Buddha, our beautiful qualities within us that make us remind also of our teachers. So in those moments in which, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to do or how to engage, just remember your conviction, your confidence in the practice, and just show up on a Sunday morning or any other day, or just click that Zoom link. And then there are other times that effort is just, not so much to apply, but just to receive the practice, letting the practice guiding us. You start being practiced. And so then we continue. We meet mindfulness. Why is mindfulness? But mindfulness is in all these factors in one way or another. Mindfulness, and we see very basic. We can go back to the body, wherever you are, on retreat, at work, in the bathroom, driving, eating, you name it. Mindfulness of the body, checking in anytime, what's going on here. Okay, touching. Oh, sharpness. Oh, tightness. Oh, expansion. Oh, tingling. Okay. Pleasant, unpleasant? Neither one. I don't know. Okay. Feeling tone. What's the attitude in the mind? Oh, it's open, curious. Yeah, there's a little wanting. Oh, there's compassion, there's connection. Oh. And what reminds you this? Oh, I just feel so happy. Oh, wow, what a good fortune. Oh, the Brahmaviharas. Oh, interconnectedness. That take maybe a minute, checking in with the 4 foundations of mindfulness. And then it goes deeper, that mindfulness goes deeper, then we just naturally start seeing, oh, this is wholesome, this is mindfulness and investigation working together. And so then we get to the 8th factor, which is samadhi, or unification, collectiveness of mind, concentration. And I will say that this factor I met this factor. This factor found me as a fruit of this practice, as a fruit of the practice. I was averse to concentration for quite a while because I didn't like that it will, like sometimes it was like, oh, I have these moments of being here, very present and absorbing what I'm doing, but then it goes away. And I'm like, that's not worth it. Oof. Talking about corruptions in the practice and misunderstanding and delusion. It's just amazing to see how it is that as we practice with, an openness of showing up, things become clearer and clearer. The ability to just rest in the breath, being nourished with the breath, being nourished by this practice. Wow, I thought that coming to this practice was getting rid of suffering. But this other part of being nourished and become wiser and having more joy and a sense of lasting well-being blew me away. It's like, oh my gosh, this is much more. This is much more. That's what I thought. So this dear mind is malleable. It's not that, it's something that is stock solid in one way of being, whatever you call the mind. I will not go into details about that, but there's this sense that sometimes we just put ourselves in a box. And so my encouragement, with this sharing of these teachings is that that there's so many ways in which you can access this practice. And if there's a moment in which you don't know what, well, I don't know, Bruni, those are too many factors. Well, remember at the beginning when I say, oh, see if there's any word that resonates for you. Just have that list in a love note, a post-it somewhere at home. Look at it and see which word resonates for you and go there. That's the one. That's the one. So the Noble Eightfold Path, a path that supports us in cultivating sila, in cultivating, with wise view and wise intention, ethical conduct for our well-being, that cultivates the mind and cultivates also wisdom, is available to you. And some of these factors may be already within your practice. And you don't have to, I'm offering them now in a linear way. When we start practicing with them, it's nice to do it in a linear way, but you see what works for you. It could be a circle, it could be a triangle of the Eightfold Paths, I don't know. It's just whatever works for you. So let me close with this quote from Ajahn Sucitto because it also complements the Eightfold Path and is about conviction and faith and confidence. And this dear mind. this mind can be very fluid, and as such can be poured into any suitable container. I just like how practical it is, It can be poured in any suitable container. We pour our mind and awareness into the vehicle of faith, of confidence. We frame it with mindfulness, and we wield it with energy. We firm it up with samadhi so that we can review all things with discernment. I repeat it without commentary. We pour our mind and awareness into the vehicle of conviction. We frame it with mindfulness. We wield it with energy. We firm it up with samadhi, with unification of mind, so we can review all things with discernment, with wisdom. Oops. So thank you. Thank you for your practice. Please keep showing up. Just wonderful that we're on this path together and we can support each other and celebrate together too. And so there may be time, I am losing track of time here. I think it's time, right? Is there time to connect, Nancy? Okay, so at least if you can turn around and say hi to the person next to you, just to cultivate this refuge of community, of Sangha. Just saying hi. I'm glad you're here.